Okay, we're also going to work on summary, and we're going to read The Important Book by Margaret Wise Brown. And notice how over here it says, take notice how Margaret Wise Brown organizes and structures her paragraphs. So what we're going to do is we're going to see how she writes The Important Book, and then we're going to look at her style and take her organizational pattern to say something for us. So this is an organizational pattern exercise. Remember when we did the 6 traits and we talked about ideas and voice and word choice and all of those things that are on the back blue cabinets with the Finding Nemo stuff? Okay, we're looking at organization because now that we've looked at theme and characters and idea, well, I think theme is like ideas, so now we're going to move to organization. The Important Book. Words by Margaret Wise Brown. Pictures by Leonard Weisgard. The important thing about glass is that you can see through it. The important thing about a spoon is that you eat with it. It's like a little shovel. You hold it in your hand. You can put it in your mouth. It isn't flat. It's hollow. And it spoons things up. But the important thing about a spoon is that you eat with it. The important thing about a daisy is that it is white. It is yellow in the middle. It has long white petals, and bees sit on it. It has a ticklish smell. It grows in green fields, and there are always lots of daisies. But the important thing about a daisy is that it is white. The important thing about rain is that it is wet. It falls out of the sky, and it sounds like rain, and makes things shiny, and it doesn't taste like anything, and is the color of air. But the important thing about rain is that it's wet. The important thing about grass is that it is green. It grows and is tender, with a sweet grassy smell. But the important thing about grass is that it is green. The important thing about snow is that it is white. It is cold and light. It falls softly out of the sky. It is bright in the shape of tiny stars and crystals. It is always cold, and it melts. But the important thing about snow is that it is white. The important thing about an apple is that it is round. It is red. You bite it, and it is white inside, and the juice splashes in your face, and it tastes like an apple, and it falls off of a tree. But the important thing about an apple is that it is round. The important thing about wind is that it blows. You can't see it, but you can feel it on your cheek and see it bend trees and blow hats away and sailboats. But the important thing about wind is that it blows. The important thing about the sky is that it is always there. It is true that it is blue and high and full of clouds and made of air. But the important thing about sky is that it is always there. The important thing about a shoe is that you put your foot in it. You can walk in it, and you take it off at night, and it's warm when you take it off. But the important thing about a shoe is that you put your foot in it. The important thing about you is that you are you. It is true that you were a baby, and you grew. And now you're a child, and you'll grow into a man, or into a woman. But the important thing about you is that you are you. So what you're going to need for this assignment, activity, lesson thing that we are doing right now is your writing notebook. That would be the one in the filing cabinets. We have not used them in a very long time. So you're going to get your writing notebook, and you're going to go to the page after our In November activity. By the way, did anybody think of In November whenever I was reading The Important Book? Because it kind of reminded me of In November. And that was when you emulated the In November format. So you guys have taken a style before and come up with something new. That's exactly what we're doing with The Important Book. So you need your writing notebooks right now. Now, what I want you to do in your writing notebook is get to your next available page in which you have a left that is open and a right that is open. Because on the left, you're going to write your draft. In other words, this side is your practice. On the right side is where you finalize it and make it sound really nice and maybe add some images to it if you would like. Kind of like we did within November, except I had you practice on a separate page. Now, you're going to copy this format right here. The important book format. So you're going to say the important thing about whatever it is that you're talking about. And then you're going to add some details. I'm going to move to the yellow color. You're going to add those details about the thing that you choose. And then you're going to end with, but the important thing about whatever topic you choose is this. Now, on that left-hand draft page, it would be wise to do a circle map with, I don't know, you can pick a subject, like reading or math, I guess, if you really wanted to do math, or science. You could pick a subject. You could pick a topic like family. You could pick a topic like characterization or something that we're talking about right now. I don't want to limit you in your brainstorming ability, but whatever you pick is going to go in your circle map right there. And you are going to brainstorm for about, I don't know, 2 minutes or so. And you're going to decide what you're going to write about. And your details are going to go around the circle map right here. So if I'm going to say, my topic is reading, I'm going to say, what encompasses reading? Word choices, genres, figurative language. And I could keep going. But then I'm going to take it back all the way to my practice format, and I will actually include a image of this at the very, very end of the Prezi so it can just be left up on the board for you. I'm going to write the important thing about reading is that it includes figurative language. That it has many genres. And takes you places. You can go on an adventure when you read. But the most important thing about reading is that it... Ooh, I should probably match that detail, huh? I was going to say is that I enjoy it. So, you kind of got to work on how you're doing. See, I messed that up. So you're going to have to practice. That's why you have a whole practice page. I'm going to say the most important thing about reading is that it takes you places. So I can end with the most important thing, really messy, the most important thing about reading is that it takes you places. You know, Dr. Seuss said, oh, the places you will go if you read a lot. So, that's kind of where I'm getting that from. But, are you limited to 3 details? No, you can have more. So, please keep that in mind. By the way, some interesting sentence stems that you could have in your nice little shiny complete draft whenever you finish is apparently something that I didn't add. So let me get that. Are things like this. Another interesting fact about reading or science about your topic. I also learned that, and something that may surprise you is, now, these sentence starters would help you if you chose to summarize another piece of writing with the important book. For example, the important thing about knots on a counting rope is that the boy is blind. Another interesting fact about knots on a counting rope is that he is still able to ride a horse. I also learned that the book uses crossing dark mountains as a metaphor for blindness. So I'm hoping this is making sense to you. You have time to practice. I do want a final draft in your writing notebook on the right-hand side. So that's the side that's going to be graded. Everything else is just practice. If you need to use an additional page, write that you need to use an additional page. That is okay. Just make sure you make a note of it. And you're going to use the important book format to come up with something that you know about that is important. Also, I hope that you're testing on these picture books that you're reading. Some of you may have already read them and tested on them long time ago. But you need to be reading your choice chapter books because I'm choosing these picture books for you guys, and it would be unwise not to test on them. A good day to test is Tuesday because that's when you're in the library with Mrs. Daggy. So, happy reading!